Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my review of the comic book phenomenon. Before I start the review, I'd like to say that this comic book this is the first time campaign, first project from a young writer over there in America called Patrick Quinlan. It's his first piece of work, so we will bear that in mind when criticising it. As you can see, this is a signed copy. I've got his signature down there in the corner. My first critique would be that is Pat. That's probably a pretty bad place to put your signature. Thank you, I appreciate it. As Patrick sent me these comics to review, so I didn't actually pay for them, which is amazing. And he is a beautiful man for doing it. But yeah, thank you, Pat. But you should have put it like somewhere solid, like up here or something. But I don't know, I guess that's how they do it in the States, isn't it? First thing I noticed, now I'm not a like, I wouldn't say I'm an expert at comic books. I've got a lot, I collect a lot of comic books. And I've seen, obviously, I've got a good eye for art. I've seen enough artists to know what sells and what's good and I've got my own tastes, you see. Now the first thing I notice about this cover is it looks very, it's solid colours, very dark and gothic, but it's got very bright, cartoonish colours, very 80s. It reminds me of an older time, like straight away, the way the yellow print goes across the bottom. It's almost Watchmen style, maybe. I don't know. It gives off some sort of... It's brilliant how you've done the name at the bottom because it stands out a mile off. You can see that cover, that font and the colours you've chosen, even with your signature over the top. You can see what it says. And if you look closely, my light's not the best. Very solid colours, and the thing I love as well about all comic books, but this one, the thing I loved when I first saw it, is that it's matte. It's got a matte finish. It's not glossy like it's over here. There's the other comic that Pat sent me. It's the Rob Hunter variant. Now, Rob Hunter's a very good artist. As you can see, his work looks very like Warhammer-y. Sort of like, you know what I mean, like Space Marines sort of thing. It's still in the plastic sheath at the minute, but that is the front variant cover, that is. Yeah. And what you notice as well is that this one is just black and white, very gothic. But yeah, you see that shine in the light there? That's what happens with glossy comics. That's why I don't like them, because you get too much of a shine. It takes the focus off of the art, I think. Yeah, I think matte is the way to go with a comic book finish. A lot of people prefer matte on the cover, and the pages even. Now, I collected a lot of Judge Dredd books, magazines, comics over the time, 2000 AD, and there's a little hint of that in here on some bits of art. Now these characters, I don't want to give away the story proper. I'll show you. There's a bit of a description. Let's open it up. On the inside is shining because I've got a light on in here. But the inside cover is very simple, plain, simple but effective. Written by Patrick Quinlan. Art, lettering by Tomas Kovacs. Chapter breaks by Rob Hunter and back covers by Peter Gilmore. Now, Tomas Kovacs, obviously Patrick Quinlan's an up-and-coming writer. This is his first proper big project. He's also a musician, very interesting man. art and lettering by Thomas Kovacs. Now that's the bulk artist. Thomas Kovacs does the like 90% of the art in here, and the chapter breaks are in between the little bits. It's Rob Hunter, and the back covers by Peter Gilmore. Now Peter Gilmore's a very good friend of mine. Rob Hunter's nice as well. I've met him. Brilliant artists again. You should check them out definitely if you haven't already seen their work. Now, Phenomenon, Comic Magazine #1, Patrick Quinlan, 2024, all rights reserved. This is just the legal jargon. The stories are not representing real persons. This is like a disclaimer in the front cover. Now, at first, just from the front cover, you got this, which is Rob Hunter's first bit in the comic. Now that is a chapter break, chapter 1, The Perfect Soviet Man. Now, I gotta say, I was confused by the story at first, but I'm getting old and it was hard for me to follow. But I kind of got it in the end, and it is very interesting, I've got to say that. I won't give it away, but all I can say is that you've got communist scientists, soldiers, whatever you want to call it, making super soldiers, like mutants. And there's a rival group of, like, mutant-y sort of people that are fighting against them from the West, from anti-communist. But there's more to it than that, obviously. That's a very, very basic rundown of their story. It deserves more justice than that. Here is a little description. In the year 1999, the Soviet Union has finally began to rebuild. This is based in an alternate reality where in 1999 I think we lost the Second World War. It's like what would have happened if the Russians would have had power. An alternate reality of Earth really began to rebuild from the devastating atomic war. The brilliant Soviet scientist Artyom Golhovorsky has discovered a serum that gifts ordinary men with fantastic abilities, but not all is as it seems. Unbeknownst to Golhovorsky, fucking Rusky names, the terrorist organisation Lantern. Yeah, Lantern are like the goodies, or if you're against the communists, they're the goodies. They intend to steal the serum and use it for their own ends. They're like a Western version, basically. And here we've got a little quote. Another piece, I'm guessing, another Rob Hunter bit there. And underneath there is a little like quote. I woke up same as any other day, except a voice was in my head. It said, seize the day, pull the trigger, drop the blade, and watch the ruling hands. That's very interesting. That's a very interesting quote. I'd like to know who that's from. I'm guessing that if there's no name next to it, then it's probably Patrick Quinlan, or it's from the story. Yeah, well, yeah. I don't want to give it away. Right, first page. There's like, obviously you've got the inner cover, and this is almost like a protective cover, I guess. Like, it's not blank, but it protects the first page of the story. And it's actually probably very expensive bit of art to get Rob Hunter and Gilmore. Very and Thomas Kovacs as well. I bet he charged a pretty penny. It probably cost a lot of money to put this project together. There's some quality artists in here. Now the first page is basically Lantern sneaking up on some commie guard, like a commie soldier, breaking his neck. And it's there's a shadowy figure in the corner down here. I guess you're worth the money after all. He's there, obviously hiring him or her, hiring them as a hitman or a hit person to go against this Russian scientist. Now the first page, very simple. The top bit's you got 4 little mini panels there on a curve. I like that. It's alright. I'm guessing that is the guard looking up at the sky, looking at the moon like it's the last thing he sees. That's very clever if that's the case. Yeah, simple but effective. That is your first page. There's one bit of wording, lettering, and then phenomena. Then it kicks in with the secondary title, like the movies just began. A story by Patrick Quinlan, art by Thomas Kovacs. Now we're in like a dark sort of Gotham City feeling place. As you can see, that the art there, excuse the light, I'm trying to get the best I can. There's definitely, there's not any AI in this at all. Not that I can point out. I think, in fact, it's very detailed. Yeah, I mean, look at the brickwork there. That might be like based off of a texture, possibly. But yeah, you can tell there's a lot of work's gone into this, and a lot of it is manually done. The backgrounds, you can see where it's been coloured on some parts. Yeah, it's a very gothic comic, to be honest. Which is why it reminded me of 2000 AD. This page, it leads into, obviously this is the guy recruiting the hitman. I'm a man of my word, Ember. See, yeah, that's it. Again, very simple. It's not overwhelming you with a lot, is it? Some comics try and squeeze too much in. Now, one thing I will say, I don't want to dishearten it, because it is a brilliant comic, but it's very family friendly. It's safe, I'd say. PG. It's got action. Yeah, it's got action and killing and stuff. But I'd say it's quite safe for your kids. It's a family comic. Now, me personally, it's just my personal taste. I like a bit of sex, drugs and rock and roll in my comics. I like them to be a bit off the chart. Have a bit of, you know what I mean? Show a bit of the seedy side of life. But yeah, like I said, it is a brilliant comic still so far. This guy, Pumpkinhead. Get the boys on the line, it's showtime. He's the leader of Lantern. He's like going against those commie bastards. And meanwhile, these commie doctors are all having like a celebration because they're making their new super soldiers. That they're celebrating it. And that doctor's well smug. And I like that. That's very 2000 AD. I like that, how they drew that person there. Yeah, smug Russians. He's like a Stalin rip-off, isn't he? But again, the colouring's not too bright. Like, it is a lot of different colours, but it doesn't jump out at you. Like, that's a nice orange that they've used for Pumpkinhead. Yeah, it's not overwhelming. It's very simple, clean, but effective. Now, the tailing of these... that kind of makes sense, I guess, because it's coming from a different scene. Yeah, I noticed some of the tailing is a bit off. Like, this one here. Like, it's coming down off of his shoulder. Now, that could be misleading. Now, I get it. I can see that that's meant to come from him, but some people might think that's the people shouting at him. I would have put the tail a little bit closer to his mouth, personally. Maybe that's just me. Maybe you would disagree. It just looks a little bit too far from him. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, as I said, the colouring is amazing. And the art as well is... Thomas Kovacs, I've not seen much of his artwork, but he's a fairly decent artist. Yeah. I can't say he's amazing, but then I haven't seen enough of his art to fully... I think what he's done here is amazing. And if he does more stuff like this, then, yeah, I think he's pretty brilliant. Like I said, on some of the pages, not all of them, like these are brilliant. The way they've worded that and put the tail to his mouth. And these, look, it goes from all the way from him, and it stretches around. Very clear text as well. Nice clear text. Readable for kids and adults. And if you're drunk, look at that. Crack-a-boom! Big explosion. Basically, I'm not going to give you all the story away, but Lantern end up basically gate crashing the party. They come in and fight the Russians who were celebrating their super soldiers. They burst through the wall with a whoosh. All these Russians start getting taken down. Again, very dark, very vibrant colour. And with its matte finish, it gives it a lovely look. My camera does not justify it. It does not do it justice. This geezer here, he reminds me of like a newspaper reporter. Someone who'd run or own a newspaper in like Spider-Man or something. He's got that like sort of firm, sort of jock dad look about him, ain't he? Or he'd be firm but fair. Firm but fair, I reckon. With his flat top haircut. This is the battle ensuing from against Lantern and the Ruskies. But the Ruskies have already released a super soldier that sort of breaks out. I'm really not telling the story very well, but that's not for me to do. I'm here to I have read the story. I don't want to give away the whole story. And plus, you got to make your own. It's one of those comics you got to kind of make your own mind up on it. The story is very different depending on what side you're on. If you were a communist, then the communists are doing a good thing. But if you're not, then you're sort of on Lantern's side. Now they've broken into their big facility. This one here, this is one of the Russian ones. No, it ain't, sorry. Sure, but yeah. Yeah, they got the right. It's interesting. This guy, he's the Rusky. Yeah. No, he's just come in and ripped someone's fucking head off. Look. My God, even fucking Pumpkinhead's scared. And there you are. There's the Jock Dad newspaper owner. He's on his side, I think. And then we get into this. Oh, look, the colour in here. That's pretty good. You can't see it very well here, but it's blended. It almost looks like it's painted. The little bits of glowing yellow on it. It almost looks painted. Look at that. Look at that vibrant sort of toxic energy. I hope you can see that through the camera. The greens and yellows they've used in that colouring. Beautiful. Almost looks glow in the dark. The art, I will give, I'll give Thomas Kovacs like a 6, 7 out of 10, I reckon, as an overall artist. He's alright. He can hold a comic book, certainly. And as you see at certain points, the characters are just white, which sort of represents shadow, I guess. You're just gonna leave the body there. Clang. Yeah, again, the panel work, like the way they've laid the panels out, that's very traditional. It's square and simple, very boring almost, but it's only one or two in the whole comic. There's a lot of this diagonal stuff. Now, I'm not a massive fan of that. Like, it's alright now and again, but to use it all the time, the diagonal boxes, they bug me a little bit. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. That's interesting. You got a four-way panel there with a woman in the middle. It's part of the lower panel. It's sort of cut in between if you look at it. Different things going on at once, look. And she is one of the main. She's the Rose. She's one of the main super mutant women. Again, very gloomy, very gothic here, very shadowy. But it may the parts that are gothic and a bit like lacking in colour is made up for by the other pages. Now this guy, I love him. He's a good character, he is. Now look, you can see, look, I'm looking at some of the like blending and stuff. Some of it you can see the digital. But in general, I think they've worked very hard on this. See that panelling, I like that, that's alright. It's got a little one in the middle. Bit confusing again for some people. I can understand it. But having it sort of off centre in the middle like that. We come to another Rob Hunter break. And Rob Hunter breaks are very, as I said before, they're very Warhammer-esque. I used to play Warhammer and the books used to be like this. Back in like the early 2000s. This sort of artwork. Brilliant though. In contrast to that, the different styles. Yeah, and we come across now. Oh, fucking Tommy Commandos there. Again, the detail. Some of the detail is a bit rushed. Very simple, plain. Good forms, body forms, very proportioned. That stance is a bit questionable, maybe, I don't know. In general though, very good angles of shots. Like this is them rappelling down a building. It's a very good sort of take on it. Very good shot angle. This is a very interesting scene. It takes up almost, well, pretty much the whole page again. They're fighting like, look at them, like weird animal mutants down at the end of the road. As you can see, the story gets very in-depth and twisted and weird. There are Russians involved after all. Look, there's a tree growing out of a fucking building there. Bloody hell. More explosions. Look at these vibrant colours, ladies and gentlemen. When you buy this comic, obviously, I think if you buy this comic, you're buying quality. And if you can get a copy of it second hand, the value of it is fucking immense. Because there's only a certain amount of copies made. And I doubt Pat'll even, well, you might make more. I don't know. Look at this. He's my favourite character. I love how they've drawn him. I don't know why. He's brilliant. And I don't like comics. But he looks cool. He reminds me of Santa. But yeah, again, vibrant colours. Very, very strange, very strange sort of panel layout choices. Again, you go from like quite weird and diagonal triangles to like plain and simple. Like that. 1, 2. Yeah, it's... And as I said, it's simple but effective, and look at the background there, look at the sky. Very cartoonish, not like realism, is it? But the colouring. But it's solid and it's vibrant. I like that, the little detailing of the falling bricks, rotting plaster. Shotgun grip, look. Simple but effective. That woman in the background, I don't quite know what she's doing with her hand there. Pulling a mask off, maybe? Or putting it on. There's a ginger lad there, look, in the car. What's the meaning of this? It took me a while to read, I'm not going to lie. Normally, it took me about a week to read, because I put it down halfway through and I had to get back into it. And like I said, I haven't told you a lot about it or give away the story, but I wanted you to have a quick look through the artwork and try and, like, I don't know, it's like a preview, innit? If you haven't, if you do come across a copy, you might want to try and grab it. But again, near this part, the panelling is very simple again. It goes from wild to square, sort of marching around the square, laid out nice and neat. I don't know, that's the only criticism, I guess. I don't know where you're going with the panelling. Look this way, it's all like, it's like two different books. But yeah, look, again, I love the colours. I think the colouring out of everything, and I don't know if it was Thomas or Pat that done the colouring, but the colouring's brilliant. Shading, everything, the lines. And I'm going to say, for a writer, a storyline, I give Patrick Quinlan as a new writer like an 8. An 8 or 9 out of 10. Maybe just verging on 9. It's a good concept. It's a good concept. It feels, when you first hear about it, you feel like, oh, that's probably been done in films and all that. But no, it hasn't. It's a very good concept indeed, and there's a very good storyline behind it. It's not just waffle. You're not just there waffling through. Here we get to look at the end of that. But first we got to even the odds. Pumpkinhead. So that is implying that there's going to be a sequel, obviously. There we go, look. Stay tuned for Phenomenon Comic Magazine 2, number 2. Thank you again to everyone who backed this book. All backers will receive a 10-page mini-comic, illustrated and inked by Rob Hunter. Due to ship late July 2024. In the meantime, enjoy these beautiful pieces featured in One Day in the Life of a Counter-Revolutionary. Special thanks to Comicsgate. Right, these are more Rob Hunter pieces, I think, here. And then it ends with the back pages, which is Peter Gilmore's work. I think he's done these. I think he's done these ones. They're like, see, this is an added bonus as well, people. Look, he gives you like a stat, almost like a trading card. Some of the last 2 pages are like trading cards, and they give you stats of the main people. Look. Very interesting. Back cover. But yeah, I think that is Peter Gilmore art as well, I'm guessing, because it says covers, back pages. Now Gilmore is another level. He's tried to make it look, I can see what he's done here, and I should imagine Patrick's instructed him to do it that way, or he might just be a fan, but he's gone very Fallout-y here, like Fallout poster. It's the sort of thing you'd see in that, isn't it, like Fallout 4. I like it. I love Peter Gilmore's art. Very clean there, look, very clean, sort of. Brilliant. Look at the detail, look. Those little lines on the shoulder of that. Yeah, Peter Gilmore, I might be being a bit biased here, but he's one of my personal favourite artists of modern time, from what I've seen. And yeah, brilliant back cover to end it off. And I'm not sure what that means, but I'm sure if you ask Patrick Quinlan or a Russian person, they will tell you there is a meaning behind that. It's some kind of quote that's relevant to the story. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to my review. Overall, I'm going to give the comic an 8. For a first time comic, I'm giving it an 8 on Jonny's chart. Like I said, some of the panelling is a bit weird for me, a bit all over the place, but some people like that. And there's very few mistakes. Like I said about the tells, maybe. Some of the tells might be worth looking into again. But nah, overall, for a first time project, I don't think you can really knock that. That young lad, Patrick Quinlan, great creator. He got Art of Gold, and he gave people what he promised. He gave them more than what he promised in his campaign. So yeah, I'm going to give that a solid 8, and I definitely recommend, as a comic book backer and buyer, not in Comicsgate, but most of my life, from when I was like a mid sort of age, I would say that this is solid work. And to pull in Peter Gilmore and Rob Hunter as well, that really adds a little it stops you getting bored. It breaks up the art. Yeah, there's not much I can critique, to be honest. I'm being totally honest here. I said I'll be brutal as well, but there's not much to be brutal about, to be honest. Now, I'm not an artist. Like I bet if John Mayling looked at this, he'd pick up 100 things. Maybe some of the backgrounds are a bit simple, maybe. I don't know. I just think for a first project, that come out pretty solid. And the storyline is pretty good. So yeah, I recommend it. Like I said, solid 8, thank you. Phenomenon. Stay tuned for Patrick Quinlan's work. Thank you for watching my review. Don't let the Russians fuck ya.